Exercise 8 will give us an opportunity to reinforce the skills learned up to this point. And the chart you're looking at contains all the notes that we've learned on the first E string in first position. The first chart referring to the sharps perspective, and then the bottom chart using flats. Now both charts are the same. The notes are all the same. But we know from enharmonic spelling, which we covered in the previous 2 exercises, that the F sharp at the 2nd fret is the same note as the G flat on the 2nd fret. And likewise, the G sharp at the 4th fret is the same note as an A flat at the 4th fret. At this point, you should have a working knowledge of what 4/4 time signature means. You know that the top number tells us that each of these measures, which is from the bar to the bar, gets 4 counts. A measure is just a container of counts. In 4/4 time, you know that a quarter note gets 1 count. You know that the 8th note gets half of a count, and that the quarter rest gets a count of silence. Exercise 6 and 7 taught us that the sharp raises a note by a half step, the flat lowers a note by a half step, and the natural symbol cancels the sharp and the flat. And we also talked about the ledger line and how it's just an extension of the musical staff. We also got into the rules of accidentals, so these are very important in helping you to understand how sharps, flats, and naturals work when reading music. So make sure you go over those before moving forward. Get out your 9 points, it's time to get to work. And the first point being the term first position. We are now mastering the first E string in first position. And so that means to perform a hold technique in first position so that you can keep your eyes off the guitar and on the page. It's going to make you a better sight reader. Just a quick tip, as you keep your hands open, make sure that you play close to the fret. Watch what happens. When I play this note here, it's nice and clear when it's against the fret and you don't have to push as hard, but the further back you go, it starts to buzz. So the best place to play is just behind the fret. So you want to get in the habit of keeping your fingers open so that you can do that. That's another reason to keep a nice open hand. Plus it allows you to keep your eyes on the page. Just remember when you get to the rest, if you're using your index and middle fingers as I am, use the finger to stop the note. And when you use down and up strokes, you can use the pick not only to stop the note, but to prepare for the next note. Point number 3, don't forget to alternate. This is a good skill to learn early on. If you're a flat picker, make sure that you alternate your down and up strokes. And if you're a classical or flamenco guitarist, to alternate your index and middle fingers using free or rest strokes for maximum efficiency. Point number 4 is about establishing rhythm. And we're going to do that by counting the rhythm on the page with our voice as we tap counts 1, 2, 3, 4 with the pencil. Make sure that you say the word "and" on these syllables here when you get to these 8th notes, and then when you get to the rest, you have a choice. You can say the word "rest" or just remain silent during that count. To demonstrate, I'm going to count with you for the first 4 measures, and then you're on your own. I've got the metronome set for 50 beats per minute. I'll give a 4 count, and we'll begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3. 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 4. 1. If you have trouble counting at 50 beats per minute, slow the metronome down to a speed that allows you to look ahead so that you can avoid mistakes. Also, if you want to put the counts above the note heads, go ahead. It's not cheating. You can put count 1 here, for example, on count 1, the and of 1 here, count 2 here. You can write in the and of 2 here. And then over this quarter note, you can put count 3, count 4 over this 8th note, and then the and of 4 over this 8th note. At the end of this video, I will be providing a video of this software playing from start to finish at 50 beats per minute, so you can count along with it. And if you want to slow it down, look on your Vimeo or your YouTube player. There's a feature that allows you to slow down the video, so that allows you to count along with the software. Point number 5, our focus is on note identification only. So I want you to say the notes on the page without the guitar. And you don't have to worry about rhythm either. Make sure that you go over your rules for accidentals, as they will be important as we are adding sharps, flats, and natural symbols to the exercise. Here's a snapshot of your rules for accidentals. And we're going to keep these 3 rules in mind as we identify notes. So if we look at measure 7, right off the bat we have a G sharp. That sharp raises the G by a half step. And then when we get to here, rule number 3 comes into play. And that's the natural symbol. This natural cancels the sharp in count 1, so it's just a regular G. And then when we get to here, we have an F sharp, and then over here we have a G, and it's just a regular G. Once we put the natural symbol over this G, the remaining G's are also natural. Because of rule number 1, if we put a sharp here on this G, it remains sharped until the end of the measure. But since we put a natural symbol here, all the following G's will remain natural. And then when we get to here, we have a G, and then we have an F natural. Once again, if it were not for this natural symbol, it would have remained an F sharp because of what we put here. Remember, that sharp remains until the end of the measure unless changed by the natural symbol. And then we have an E. Point number 6, we're going to say the notes on the page in rhythm without the guitar. So our focus is on identifying notes in rhythm. And you're going to do that as you tap your pencil to counts 1, 2, 3, 4 to a steady beat. When you get to the rest, you have a choice. You can say the word rest, or you can remain silent for that count. It's important to set the metronome to a slow enough tempo so that you can articulate the notes clearly. And also it allows you to look ahead of the note that you're going to say. When we get into these sharps and these flats, it's going to add an extra syllable to the letter, so it's more words you have to put out. So that takes longer, so keeping the metronome slow will allow you to articulate the note clearly. Point number 7, say and play the notes at the same time with the guitar. So now our focus is on note identification on both the guitar and the musical staff. In the beginning, you might want to turn off the metronome and just pick a note and say it. So you can just focus on note identification. And as you get better, you can start saying the notes very slow to the count. 1, 2, 3, 4. F, G, G sharp, G, F, E, F, E. F, G, G sharp, G, F, E. G sharp, G, F sharp, G, G, F, E, 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 F, E, F, G, G sharp, G, F sharp, G, G, F, E. F, G, A flat, G, F, E, F, E. F, G, A flat, G, F, E. A flat, G, G flat, G, G, F, E, 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 F, E, F, G, A flat, G, G flat, G, G, F, E. Point number 8, count and play the notes at the same time. So your focus now is on keeping the count as you play the notes. Make sure that you say counts 1, 2, 3, 4 through the entire exercise. Even when you get to this rest, even though it's silent, I want you to say count 4. Whenever you stop the note, you're showing that you understand what the quarter rest does. And then when you get to here, make sure that you include the syllable and on all the eighth notes. I'm going to count and play with you at 50 beats per minute on the metronome. If that's too fast, you can set your own metronome at a slower tempo, or you can slow down the video player and stay with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Point number 9. Train your eyes to look ahead of the note that you're playing. Expert sight readers can see several notes ahead of what they are playing. So the idea is to scan the page before you play the note. You do this when you're reading a book. So don't go so fast that you get caught on the current count. You don't want to be locked in, for instance, on this F, only to be surprised that this G is an eighth note and then it turns into a G sharp. So if your eyes are locked in here, you're going to miss it here. So as you're playing this F, you're already scanning and pre-rehearsing the G and the G sharp before you play them. And that's going to help you to cut down on errors, and you're going to learn how to sight read faster.